All right, so now we know that this new form of government took Congress. Before, it used to just be every state gets one person, every state gets one representative. Now they decide to break it into two groups. Congress now has two groups. They still make laws. That's the same thing as before. But the first group is called the House of Representatives. The second group is called the Senate. Okay? The House of Representatives. Let's start with that side of Congress. There's two sides. Let's start with that side. The House of Representatives is sometimes just called the House. Don't think about your casa, your house. Just know that it is a group of people who come together to make laws. How do they choose how many people get to go? How do they choose the members of the House of Representatives? Very easy. They look at the population of a state. If a state has a large population, like Virginia, they might get 5, 10 representatives. Literally 10 men from the state of Virginia that go to Congress and sit down and they can vote on behalf of the people of Virginia. If you have a small state, let's say Delaware. Delaware had a small population. Maybe they only get one person, one representative. So in conclusion, the House of Representatives is one half of Congress, and the people who go there are simply based on population. Okay? Now, some people didn't like that. Some people said it should be fair. Every state should get one member, or maybe they should get two members. Well, that's what the Senate does. See the blue group right here, the Senate? That's the other half of Congress. Let's take a look at the Senate. The Senate is going to have equal representation. Each state gets 2 representatives. Those are called senators. A big state like Virginia still only gets 2 for the Senate. A small state like Delaware still gets 2. So in conclusion, the Senate is a group of lawmakers where every state gets 2. The House of Representatives is a group of lawmakers where it depends on the population of the state. Both of these groups have to work together actually to pass laws and to make laws for the country. Let's talk about the House of Representatives really quickly in regards to population. Now, this was a very racist time in America. Did they count black people as the population? Because if they did, some of those states would have really big populations and more representatives going to the House. So what did they decide for slaves? To keep it simple, they decided this. Look at the graphic. They kind of made a deal with each other and said, okay, let's just say this. Every 5 slaves counts as 3 people. Yes, this is racist. No, this is not the way we do it anymore. But at the time, they would take a state like Georgia. And if Georgia had a certain number of slaves, those would count not as the exact same number of population, right? So for example, say Georgia has 5 slaves. Well, that only counts as 3 people. If they had 10 slaves, that counts as 6 people, right? Very simple math. So they decided to do that so they can figure out the population of some of these states. This slide has a quick review if you wanted to review any of that. But all you really need to focus on, guys, is understanding that the Constitution was our final form of government we still have today. Representation, right here, number 3, just means the people that vote for us. We can't have millions of people go to Congress and try to vote. So we choose people from each state to go vote for us, whether it's 2 per state, like the Senate, or based on population, like the House of Representatives. Congress makes laws. There's 2 groups, the Senate and the House. We've talked about most of this now, and we understand now that slaves were only counted as 3/5 of a person. Please feel free to email me with any questions, or you gotta come to office hours to get some help. This stuff is really tough. I totally get that.